Hello, Internet, you beautiful Internet peoples, You're listening to Nerdly Kingdom. Got the name right this time.
Oh, I forgot to call out the ugly people. Hey, ugly people. We love you too.
That's so rude. There are no ugly people.
Lori, you're being very patronizing.
People of ugly.
All right. I'm ugly too. I'm allowed to say this.
She's caught. The ugly. But
I don't want to hear beautiful people talking about ugly people movies.
I mean, I see where he's going with that, but that's that kind of thinking that gets us in trouble on Instagram.
I joke, obviously.
What?
But yeah, we saw Captain Marvel. Our last podcast was us talking about Captain Marvel before Captain Marvel came out. So the podcast went up after Captain Marvel came out.
So now we're doing another one after it came out.
About Captain Marvel.
This
is the about Captain Marvel after watching it. We're going to post it before the movie comes out.
Damn.
Keeping in line with Marvel.
My time machine's in the
This
shop.
is our prequel podcast. This podcast takes place before every other podcast we've ever done.
Yeah, it's like
And this podcast will explain how this podcast came to be.
This podcast, it takes place in the 90s.
Oh, see, it works
So we're
out.
all 10 years old watching Zoom on TV.
Hold on.
Because I was going to say, that works out perfect. So this is the prequel, explains everything, and there's female representation.
Wait.
So it's perfect.
Great.
All right, welcome to our 90s podcast.
All right, that's enough. I don't even know what song that was.
It was clearly Nirvana. You couldn't understand a word of it.
No! But I saw the movie twice.
Same.
I've only seen it once. I haven't had time to see it again.
Let me pull out my notes. I listened to a bunch
Let me pull out my notes.
I tried to get
Me
a lot
and
of.
Lori are sharing notes
Yeah,
today.
we're sharing notes.
I tried to get the most.
Can I have a piece of paper and a pen?
A pen
you
I
can
can
have
help you with.
my
Or a
notes.
pen.
Oh, hey, look.
What notes is this?
Those are from the last podcast. They even got
cool.
our recipe on there.
So Power Ranger sequel has been confirmed.
Here's you some paper,
I
William.
wanted to write in the notepad.
Old man yells at cloud.
I
Here's
like
here's a
cushion.
pencil.
Oh, here. Well, that treasure chest there is full of
Is there a pen?
writing
Treasure.
utensils.
Is there a pen?
Writing utensils.
Is there a pen?
Who wants a pen over a pencil?
Ink is so much smoother.
Yes, there's
Oh
a
my god,
pen.
is this blue ink?
There's a.
Okay, thank you.
How dare you? So offended by blue ink.
It's because she's a left-handed scrub.
Hey, I'm a left-handed scrub too. What
Are you really left-handed? It's your notes.
Those are from last week.
Are you really left-handed?
Yeah, I'm left-handed. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
No.
Yeah. That's why my handwriting looks like shit.
Mine doesn't.
Well, I had to learn
Look
to.
at all these notes that I wrote.
I used ring-bound notebooks, so I had to learn to write so my hand wasn't pressed into the rings. So my handwriting is italicized.
Oh, see, I just learned to deal with it because I'm strong and will survive the harsh winter. Unlike you weaklings.
Actually, it sounds like he would survive because, like, if a giant rock fell in your house, you'd be like, well, I guess I'll just make do. And he would actually, move the rock and continue living. He learns to change.
I don't think...
He changes, adapts to the situation.
overcome.
He is the
Survive.
Microsoft and you are the Sony. We were just talking about this. Anyways.
Wow.
Any hoodles.
I tried to find I tried to make a list of the most common complaints people had with the movie, and I went back and rewatched it. And without spoiling it too much...
Oh, I was just like,
No. Well, I want to try not to spoil the movie because it's like, well, let's try the first half, not to spoil the movie.
I'm going to spoil the movie. I don't care.
No, because this is going to go...
I'm going to spoil it. Brie Larson was amazing.
This is going to go up tonight, and so we very rarely have podcasts that go up so early in the movies.
We can always put up a disclaimer saying, look,
yeah, but I kind of want people... I want people to be that... They're like, I don't know if this movie's... Because there's so much people saying this movie's bad. I want people to be able to listen to our opinion and say, hey, it's not.
No, there's stuff I wanted to talk about that are spoilers.
No. Let's generalize...
Don't realize
Let's generalize our thoughts about the movie first.
You want to leave the spoilers for the ending?
I mean, I wouldn't even say the ending. We'll have like a 10-minute non-spoiler thing just for people popping in, and then
okay, that'll work for me.
But
I got a lot to talk about.
I want to start with saying I got the list of complaints that most people had.
Yes.
I rewatched the movie, and I think they're all wrong. Like, they're actually all wrong. Even people are like, I like the movie except for this. I'm like, no, it just wasn't there. There's a few things that I think they... Like one thing you said, how I'm going to go into it a little bit, how they thought Captain Marvel was a really weak character. I don't think that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the other characters are actually written too well. Like, if that makes sense.
We were talking about when I got here.
The biggest complaint that I've seen, and note that most of the complaining I've seen has come from dudes commenting on Marvel Facebook posts, so they're not really relevant, or right?
I'm talking about people that actually try to objectively
people
review
who
the
actually
movie.
matter. I get you.
Yeah.
But it's like I've seen a lot of complaints about Brie Larson not having a lot of emotion.
I don't agree with that at all.
And
It's like the whole point of the movie.
well, and not to mention,
It actually is, yeah.
one, it's like, what kind of emotion do you expect her to have? Like some bubbly, giggly, like complete cookie cutter, like
Oh my
female.
God, you're so
Oh
funny.
my God. If
Can you imagine if
her
Black Widow was like
emotion,
that?
exactly, her emotion is no different than Captain America's. The way she reacts and emotes is no different than any of the other Avengers. Like, this is a very serious time.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna be serious. And she does make a few little jokes and quirks, and it's really funny and adorable. So it's like, that's the biggest complaint I've seen, and they're all wrong.
So,
Well, that's like my thing about like the Facebook trolls and stuff is that a lot of the times you can kind of tell when they're trolling, and I live by the mentality of don't feed the troll, so I don't get involved in all that anymore.
I feel you. It's so upsetting that I can't go onto a single post
yeah.
about Captain Marvel without it being flooded with specifically white dudes
You should go to Reddit.
bashing it.
Reddit loves the movie, and any of
Really?
that comes up, they downvote it. So you don't
Because
see
they're
it.
all like, oh, I'm gonna go see Alita, and I'm like, I don't even want to see
I wanna
that
point
movie
this out.
anymore.
Alita has as long as it's been running, has only made 70 million domestic.
And
And opening weekend, Captain Marvel made 153 million.
Captain Marvel's already up to 500 million. I just looked it up.
But you should get a Reddit account and subscribe to the
I
Marvel.
have a Reddit account.
Oh, are you subscribed
mean-
to the Marvel Studios subreddit?
I don't know.
You should. I think you'd like it there.
That being said,
I think I'll like it here.
I actually, like I said before, I genuinely enjoyed Battle Angel Alita. So I hate that they're ruining it because of this whole thing.
It's really sad because
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever be able to watch that movie and actually enjoy it.
I think you will.
Just because of this.
I know, but once it starts and you actually, because they do a great
They're
job.
doing it to me with Shazam too. I'm like, if I see another, I'm going to watch the true Captain Marvel movie. I'm literally going to reach my fist
I am
through
gonna
and
watch
punch somebody through my computer.
Shazam just because I can't remember his name. The guy that plays
Zachary Levi.
He is just so into playing that role.
Yeah.
And it just out of camera, it just makes me so happy. Like, you see that video where like the girl's favorite superhero was Shazam, and she runs up and hugs him and starts crying, and like he's looking down, he looks back up, and he's crying too because she's crying. It's one of the most wholesome things I've ever seen in my entire life. I was like, I want to watch that movie just because of this gif.
My new favorite post, because the other night Brie Larson surprised a
saw
group
that.
of watchers, and she
yeah.
was in a Captain Marvel tracksuit, and they got a picture of her holding the drink and the popcorn, and they put it side by side with the Shazam picture of him like drinking, and I was like, I support that.
Okay,
But-
so general thoughts.
General thoughts on this movie. I will say, it does. General thoughts. It does. It is built on the amnesia plot,
Yeah.
and I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And in a completely different podcast, those don't ever work because it's so hard to write. I think it could have. I don't think they pulled it off perfectly, but it was good enough. I wish they'd done it a little bit differently, but that being said, I'd still say out of 0 to 100 of how they could have handled the amnesia plot, they still did 8 out of 10. Like,
Yeah.
still handled it really well.
I agree.
I feel like we needed more of the flashbacks in different places
Yeah.
because they were timed really weird. They were timed in places where like it wasn't because of the way they did it. And I won't spoil how they did it, but it was kind of important to the plot that they did it that way when
Yeah.
you saw her flashbacks. I feel like if she had flashbacks during like emotional times when she was like losing the fights, it would have been stronger than just all at once in this one time. You know what I'm saying?
I kind of like how they did her flashbacks because it's like easy to bring the flashbacks back
Yeah.
in something like that. It's like, but for it to have been done the way it was with the voiceover thing, all the other
absolutely,
stuff.
100%.
I'm like,
Yes,
I want to say,
love
what's
this.
that character's name? I wrote
Talos.
it down.
Talos.
Talos is the best written and best acted character in the entire MCU, and there's nothing that can change.
I have a
that.
note on that. I'll get to
Like,
that later.
I just blows me away the way he delivers his lines with such true feeling.
Yeah.
But
Which they had Ben Mendelsohn, who plays Talos, is such a good actor.
Yes,
as
absolutely.
well. So like they really won on that end with writing a good character, and then giving a good actor like Ben Mendelsohn a lot of to hook into.
and that's
Yeah.
my thing in that scene. I feel like her flashbacks helped him more than emotionally supporting her growth. It was kind of
yeah.
weird. And a lot of people... Okay, no, I'm not, I need to get complaints later. General thoughts of the movie. I'm getting ahead of myself. Overall, the story was... I'm hesitant to say really good. Because, I mean, it was a Marvel...
It was an origin story.
Yeah, I was exactly what I was saying.
It was an origin
It's a
story.
Marvel origin story, which always has its issues because a movie that is just an origin story can be really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But because Marvel has to tie them into the overall story, they're always going to feel a little paced weird.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I went into that movie not sure what to expect, and I came out... Me and Alicia both came out just fully enjoying that movie. Like I went back and saw it again, so that says enough. Even if it was just to analyze the complaints of other people, I went back and saw it again, and I loved it.
I really kind of want to do that now.
Like I had a list of complaints. I was taking notes in the theater. I couldn't take notes in the theater the first time because it was like opening day, and so there were people
I'm gonna
everywhere.
get a
and I
pen
couldn't
that
get my...
like dimly lights up.
That's probably what I should do. I just do it on my phone.
Oh, you're one of those people.
Well, that's why I didn't do it when that's why I didn't do it when the theater was full. I normally when I see movies, it's like 9:30 in the morning, so I'm in there by myself. The last movie me and Alicia watched, what did we see? We saw Battle Angel Alita, and we were the only ones in the theater, and it was so much fun because Alicia was just like screaming at the theater and like she was like trying to throw her popcorn at the screen. She was so mad. I was like, stop! No, it was fun. Like
I love being the only person in the theater.
it was fun. Man, Battle Angel Alita was good. It's a fun movie, but. Captain Marvel, I love Captain Marvel. As far as the origin story goes, it's definitely not the worst that they've done. Granted, I really like some of the Marvel origin stories. I don't know what people have such problems with them. That's a whole different conversation. Well, I want to have that conversation later.
Yeah, I won't talk about that too much.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're getting off subject. I want to talk about Captain Marvel.
Who's next? You want to
I'm
go
trying
next,
to
Lori?
think of a specific
Okay.
thing. Okay. Because you know me, I stop rubbing the mic. I can hear it off the headset.
Really? I'm trying to readjust.
I mean, I can cut it out. It's
I
not.
keep moving my body around.
It's
and
not
I
a
keep
problem.
Disaligning with the microphone.
It's
I
not a
can't
huge
sit
issue.
Right.
You know me. I'm always like, if I can't just say, "Oh, this movie was great," and point out the good things. I'm always like,
Yeah.
here's the small little things that you need to get over because if this is the only thing I have to complain about, then it's really good.
Yeah.
So things to complain about that aren't real issues. If you're a huge Marvel comic book fan and you don't like them changing the original story, do not see this movie. You will not be happy. Because that takes a turn that is not in the comics and you will not like. And I loved it so much. It's one of those things that in hindsight I probably should have saw coming, but I didn't see coming.
Are we thinking about the same part?
It has to be. It has to be.
Okay.
Because the whole time, like she's like, we're Kree, we're ancient noble warrior things. I was like, Kree are assholes, and we all know that. You're not fooling anyone, Captain Marvel.
Well, let's get to that later.
But
Spoilers.
Yeah, it's spoilers, but
Spoilers.
that's what you might call a twist is going to get
It's a
people angry, and I
twist.
thought it worked with the story great.
I don't know. I think
I don't know what they're going to do with the rest of the MCU now, but I mean,
I have a theory on that, but I'll get to it later.
yeah. Honestly, the fact that I have to go, I don't know what they're going to do with the rest of the MCU.
It's
I like
exciting.
that. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's a good thing.
It makes you excited to see where it's going to go.
Like Endgame, I ain't got no idea what's going to happen. They're so
my
far off the
God.
normal track now that I don't have a clue.
I'm so ready. Like, it's just like parading down a hill, and I'm like, I'm just going to ride this and see where it goes.
Because, I mean, the whole thing between, I'm getting off subject again, but I'll say it real quick. The whole thing between Infinity War and Endgame, in the comics, it starts with him destroying half the universe. And so, but what happened afterwards kind of happened at the beginning of Infinity War, so I don't know what's left to do other than Captain Marvel going in and just blowing stuff up.
Oh, I'm
That's what I
so
like about
ready
the
for that.
movies, 'cause
Please give me that.
I'm not
actually-
one that gets really upset about comic
Yeah.
deviation. I like that they're doing their own thing. I like that
I
it's
think-
unpredictable.
Captain Marvel, the way they wrote it was really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
And there was not a bad performance in that whole movie, I don't think.
So true. So
The only thing you could say is, oh, Captain Marvel's performance was weird. I was like, that was intentional? That's the thing. That's what people don't get. She was written not knowing who she is. So when she acts weird, it's because she's trying to figure out who she is. That's the whole plot of the movie.
I will give you $50 right now to turn into a Venus flytrap.
That was stupid.
That's my favorite line.
That look.
I thought the file cabinet line was even dumber, but his reaction.
I know.
He felt he had the same exact like attitude I had towards it.
That's why I love that character. That character is decked out in full makeup, and he was still he was still able to make an expression that said like paragraphs and paragraphs of annoyance, and it was just so that performance.
Why would I turn into a filing cabinet?
That whole little conversation right there was one of my favorite things.
Story was really good, or what's the in between decent and really good? Story was
okay.
Good. I mean, it was better than okay though. I don't want to say it was like it wasn't the best thing ever, but it was really good. I'm just gonna say really good. It was really good. Well, see, it was better than decent. I don't want to give it like
enjoyable.
It was it was very enjoyable. It was a lot of people. No, I'll come back to that. Complaints. That's just what I do. It's my thing. I'm the cynical one.
Move on to.
Oh, the story was really good. The acting was fantastic. There's a couple of twists in there. I don't even know if one of them you can count as a twist, but I want to bring it up later because it's just. Well, I think Lori knows exactly what I'm talking about too. Because we were all wondering, and it happened.
It did.
But overall, just
I don't know what you're talking about. But I guess we'll get to it.
You do.
Yeah, you do. It was go say stuff because I'm bad with words.
Lori's next.
I've been hyped about this movie since it was announced that there was going to be a Captain Marvel movie, and between being hyped about the Captain Marvel movie and just hyped that it was going to be Marvel's first female-led movie, it's just really exciting for me. And so I went into it with super high expectations because I remember going into
plan.
Do what?
Never a good plan.
Well, it's like, I mean, I did the same thing with Wonder Woman because it really is a stressful thing. Like on the stand, like when you have a female-led movie, if the movie flops, they're not going to blame the writers. They're not going to blame the director. They're going to blame the female actress.
That is so true, even though it makes no sense.
It's going to fall on the female actress. So there was that same stress of, oh my God, please be good. Like, this movie's already being just drugged through the mud, and we haven't even seen it yet. And so I get in there, and I love the movie. Like, I don't know if it's partly just because it was so good to get to see her on screen leading her own movie.
I feel like we have... it's easier for us to like Captain Marvel because we are sarcastic assholes.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel is kind of a sarcastic asshole.
She is. Oh my God.
My favorite part is like... Because people just didn't appreciate her wit. And I'm going to spoil this tiny little line. But at one point, someone's looking for her. It's like, right, we're looking for this person, like obviously talking to her. She's like, oh, I think she went that way. Bye, guy. And I just laughed so hard at that.
Oh, the laser tag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone dressed like they're going to laser tag. Oh, yeah, she went that way. But I think that Brie Larson did such a good job as Captain Marvel. Like, I know that from a lot of the trailers, it seemed very kind of one-toned and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can...
And a lot of people like, oh, the trailers made it look not interesting.
But it's a trailer.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know not to trust trailers.
It's a feel.
The thing with this trailer specifically is if they had shown anything else other than what they showed in the trailer, they would have ruined the movie.
Yeah.
Because this movie is so riddled with plot and plot twists.
It's
any little detail could have thrown.
It's an amnesia movie.
Yeah, and I mean, so like once you see the movie and then you look back at the marketing, you're like, okay, this is why.
But the marketing did such a great job setting up a tone that you would want for the movie. But you know, I don't have any complaints about it. I really don't. I'm still so excited, and I maybe it's just because going into the movie for me personally is different than you know, my experience is going to be different.
See, I feel like that's one thing about this movie is that it really it does appeal more to females. It is very much a girl power movie. That doesn't mean it's a bad movie, but I won't be, what's the word I'm looking for? I would understand if that you and other women wouldn't have a problem with the movie because it's so relatable to what most women go through.
Yeah.
So and that's what the movie was.
Well, and it's
that point where he's like, you need to smile more. And Alicia was next to me. She's like, you're going to die. I was like, Alicia, sit down.
Calm down.
Stop standing on your chair. There's people behind you.
But
there's some other parts that I really do want to get to that go around same thing, but it's a bit more spoiler-esque, and I want to hold back and wait
on that. Especially
the
more
exact
specific
scene that I'm talking about, probably.
I don't know. It's more specifically talking about deconstructing Yanrog, Jude Law's character.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to go a lot.
Thing. Yeah, but
I have a lot of notes in here about Yanrog and the representation of his character.
I have a small story about Jude Law for that movie.
I also, it's like, but I think in the end, I don't have a lot of critiques for a lot of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I just genuinely, I know what I'm expecting from a Marvel movie. I'm never genuinely disappointed going in to see a Marvel movie.
That a lot of people don't seem to get. Like, you can pick apart a movie, but in the end, the only thing that matters, well, not the only thing, but close to the only thing that matters is whether or not you enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to rewatch it because it was fun or you're not.
This is what me and Maggie were talking about after we saw the movie, is that she isn't that big of a fan of the Marvel movies. I am. Mm-hmm. And so she knows that I know, because based on my taste in movies, I don't think they're great movies, but I think they're good movies.
Yeah.
And what we talked about is that it doesn't matter whether or not Captain Marvel was a great movie or a good movie. What matters is young girls have that to look up to. Even if it's a bad movie, even if it's a good movie, representation is still representation.
Yeah.
So for all the young girls seeing this movie, they finally have a movie to watch and a hero to look up to. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
And see, it's like,
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm so excited for young girls in today's world with media, because we have all female Ghostbusters now.
Yeah.
We have Wonder Woman on the big screen. Now we've got Captain Marvel, a superhero a lot of young girls probably never heard of. Mm-hmm. You've probably got people who have been watching, females watching the MCU who might not follow the comic books. I mean, I don't follow the comic books.
I don't follow comic books.
And everything. It's like, who might not have even known who Captain Marvel was. And all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I now have kind of a Wonder Woman-esque character in the MCU.
And there's a cartoon on Disney now.
That's all females, yes.
That's the A-Force, yeah. So I mean, it's becoming more and more mainstream, which is great.
I'm like, yes, give me all the female remakes. Give me all the female leads.
I particularly like Captain Marvel because she's very much, she's not just a female role model, but she's one that's, I'm going to be who I want to be regardless of what they tell me, kind of. And because normally it's a female role. And it's like, yeah, it's a female. There's a lot of movies that are like, oh, it's a female role where she's a strong character. I was like, yeah, she's a strong character in the bounds of what the men are telling her to do. Yeah. Which is, this is not that.
It's like, it really is. We're finally getting to see strong female characters that are not Joss Whedon strong female. Are there not Stephen Moffat strong female? And
oh boy,
I love Stephen Moffat, and I'm not going to get into that, but it's finally good to start seeing female characters who are, because a woman helped write or direct or produce this.
One of the directors is a woman, and the script was written by her and the other director and another woman.
So see, we're finally getting strong female characters who are actually written by females.
Women, yeah. And
you can tell, because a Joss Whedon or Moffat strong female character is not the same as this
Captain
Wonder
Marvel,
Woman we have, or Captain
Woman,
Marvel, or even the Ghostbusters. They're different, and you can tell these are women written by women for women.
The difference being, unlike Wonder Woman, because I love Wonder Woman, but for a movie that was supposed to be the first strong female lead superhero movie, there were way too many dick jokes.
And a lot of men.
I have an issue with that. Granted, I will give it, there were a lot of men. But I can almost argue in that movie that was the point.
Well, yeah.
So
No,
I'll give it
and
that.
it's like I because people have been applauding Captain Marvel because there's no romance subplot in this one.
Oh yeah, I have that. As
There's
a
no it's like Captain Marvel is clearly the lead in her own movie. Like, yeah, you have Nick Fury in it some and everything like that, but you can tell he's clearly a side character.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, people were almost like, Nick Fury was too much of a main character, which he may have been, but I feel Nick Fury...
But this was their chance to really shell out his character.
He was closer to a mentor character than he was anything. And I think I really like that.
I was just
Very
excited.
buddy cop-esque.
Yeah.
That's one note I have is like, I do not like buddy cop movies, but the way they did it actually kind of worked. You actually saw, because I feel like at the beginning of the movie, Nick Fury was not the Nick Fury we know. I'm going to say, let me rephrase. At the beginning of the movie, Fury was not the Fury that we know, but you saw him change into that as he sort of mentored this super-powered person. So we saw a story arc of the character we already knew without it subtracting from the story of the main character, which is the way side stories should be.
Yeah.
You can have them, but if you subtract from the main one, if it doesn't work with the main one, then it doesn't belong there, and this one worked. Everyone had their own growth in this movie, and it all played into the same story.
And I think it was really
Except for Coulson
exciting.
being there, but that was just...
That was all.
That was fan service.
It was.
And they
was done so good.
And they didn't overdo it, so it's okay.
He's in there just enough.
I want to warn people.
It kind of was like a nice throwback to like kind of phase 1 ish. Coulson, who was just kind of, he would show up and he was like, who is this guy that just keeps appearing in each of the Marvel
Hold on,
movies?
I gotta write this down so I don't forget. I have a note that I want to make.
The community notes.
Because this is
the only note I have is she is perfect.
While
with
you
a
do
heart.
this, I'm gonna do my general.
Well, there's one thing I wanted to say first, and I can't remember what it was. Hold on, let me think. What were we just talking about?
Coulson and
Fury.
Nick Fury.
I don't know. Never mind.
But just really quick though, it was I'm so glad that they had Nick Fury in it though, because we've only ever seen like a very like broody, dark Nick Fury.
I love
so to kind of see
Fury.
younger Nick Fury before everything kind of really wore down on him. And to be like, oh, he really wasn't always like that. This has really broken him. You know,
I wonder how much of that is he's really broken, and how much of it he has to act like that to have things done.
Maybe half and half. I don't know. Okay, so
you kind of see that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, you do.
This is a nice bar.
Nice bar. Okay, what did I think about this movie?
What did you think about this movie?
I really liked it.
I do remember what I was going to say, but okay.
A few problems, but not like major problems. Like
throw them on me, I'm ready to fight.
One problem I had, really, really, really minor to the point that it probably doesn't even matter, is I felt like they could have added a few more smaller moments. Like the pace moves along very well, but there's some parts where I think it moves too fast.
You know, it's funny. I'm gonna say something about that real quick. That I've heard a lot of complaints in the other direction, where they say they actually liked this movie because they felt like it was one of the only movies that was paced well. They like the quickness, and that's one of those things that I think is just personal preference at this point.
I like that. I think I would have liked like one or two more scenes that were kind of similar to the scene at Marie's house. Yeah, where they're just hanging out and talking.
Yeah, that's fair.
Learning more about.
I feel like it did need more. Of that.
And you never know what Captain Marvel 2 is going to bring.
Yes, I'm going to get to that too, because another, like, one of my other complaints, you get little glimpses into Carol as a character, and I feel like the glimpses you do get are done very well. But like I told Brad earlier, because all of the other side characters are so well written and so well developed, and because it is an amnesia story, Carol feels a little underdeveloped compared to everyone else, and that's okay because there's still sequels, there's still room for growth. But I feel like the only reason I consider it a problem is because she's appearing in Endgame, which is 20 years later. Yeah. So we're going to see a completely different Carol in that movie than we saw in this movie.
That might work.
Kind of like Justice
do we know
League.
anything about Captain Marvel 2?
No.
Because if Endgame Captain Marvel is the 20 years later, Captain Marvel 2 very well still could be a prequel in between.
That's what
And you see the growth into that, which would actually, a lot of people would complain about, but I think it'd be really interesting to see
I
these
think
two
that
characters.
would be cool, like to have the trilogy set between that time.
Like these
span.
characters seem completely different, and you see that happen in the next movie.
One of my coworkers actually really did suggest that having the second Captain Marvel movie happening before Endgame, because there's still a lot that you can do with her character, and
it could. Sorry, I have my own train of thought.
It's like because he actually also suggested that they could almost pull off a Doctor Strange sequel pre-Endgame with, you know, in the first movie you see Doctor Strange and he kind of just got a grasp on his powers.
That's
and
true.
now you see him in Infinity War and he's like, shoom, there's 50 of me.
I don't know if we need that with Doctor Strange,
he spent an undisclosed amount of time in the
Mirror Realm
with Dormammu, so
damn.
All the doors.
I didn't think about that.
There's a big chance like he spent a lot of that time learning new stuff.
Where he just showed up, he didn't say anything. He was like, "Hold on, I'm practicing."
Yeah,
And it's like I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm just gonna wing it.
Like there is, as far as Carol's concerned, there is room for growth.
Or they could do it kind of like this Captain Marvel, and it have a lot of it be based on maybe flashbacks, maybe stories of what happened to set her up that way.
It's like
There's a lot of different things they could do.
It's funny though, because if they end up doing the Captain Marvel 2 pre-Endgame, then it's kind of just like Wonder Woman setup, because you have the Wonder Woman origin, then all of a sudden jump to Wonder Woman in Justice League, which is present day Wonder Woman, who is not the same person, then jump back to continue her story building back up to
Did Marvel pull a DC, or Marvel's going to watch us do it this time?
It's like watch us do it better.
The
You're
only
welcome.
concern I have about it though is that to go from that to jump into the next movie with Carol so far into the future, it's going to be very difficult to. I mean, this is all speculation, on my part. But Endgame, the major players in Endgame all have a deep personal investment in this fight, in this battle against Thanos. And it's the culmination of the past 10 years of seeing them develop, so we care about all of them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we've just now been introduced to Captain Marvel, and there's 20 years of character development we haven't seen. So depending on what role Captain Marvel has in the movie, it's going to be very hard to really feel any connection to her.
But do you... Sorry.
There is very easy ways to do this, and I hope they do this. This is speculation again on my part, but they very easily could do, because in the mid-credit scene, she shows up like immediately after.
Yeah.
They very well could do a scene or two of Carol going to the Skrull homeworld and seeing it in ruins, and the Skrulls just being like, "You were supposed to protect us." Or her going to Marie's house and just finding piles of dust, so that they show what investment Carol
that's
has
a good point
in this.
I didn't think about that,
to give us a chance to feel invested in her character's
He snapped
involvement.
the whole universe, not just...
just it's the whole universe. And I mean, I almost feel like the setup kind of plays off the fact that we have a lot more emotional ties to the other Avengers. And I think that'll kind of play into introducing our character, because I think a lot of people are still going to kind of have the same reaction that the Avengers have.
Like,
who are you?
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Especially
what can
since
you do?
Nick Fury summoned her. They know that Nick Fury summoned her.
Yeah.
But they don't know that Nick Fury summoned her. They know he was
They
doing...
know she's important.
They know he did something, but they don't even know what he did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm very
Maybe the
interested-
Avengers should read a comic once in a while.
and it's like
I would argue that doesn't make sense. They don't have comics of themselves, and it's like Captain America totally did.
Yeah.
Like, so, maybe.
Breaking the fourth wall like an American.
But
I mean, to be fair, that was just propaganda, wasn't it?
I see that criticism brought up a lot about people getting concerned about Carol not really having a big emotional part of Endgame, or not being there, or not doing enough to where we care about her involvement. But I feel like where the Russos are concerned and Marcus and McFeely are concerned, I feel like they wouldn't just put her in there to put her in there.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
also-
they would try
It's
to
got-
I
give
feel
her
there
depth.
would be like a big level of guilt too, just because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like I am from this place. I am from Earth. And had I been here on my planet, I might have been able to stop any of this from happening.
And there's no telling, because she spent like 20 years in the galaxy doing all this stuff. There's no telling how much of her work has just been undone just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no telling that maybe
it's like she legit could be on another planet and witness the dusting.
Yeah. So
and then get that call from
we don't know
Nick.
whether or not she had been fighting Thanos too. She very well could have been.
she very well could have been on Xandar.
Ooh, oh, that would be really cool to see. I would love to see, because they just gloss over the fact that Xandar gets destroyed in the movie. I would love to see her like a pre-movie thing of her on Xandar when Thanos just comes down and destroys everything and gets the stone. Ooh, I want to see that. Even if it's not in the movie, if it's like a YouTube thing they throw up before the movie.
I really think that it's like, with us not knowing that much about Carol, it gives them so much playroom.
Yeah, it really does.
We just have to trust they'll do it good.
In Russo's we trust.
So yeah, I was underwhelmed by her character development, but I feel like there is still
Amnesia stories are hard.
There is still a lot of room to grow off of that.
I feel like the Amnesia could have been done a little bit better, but that's just spoiler territory.
Everything else I really liked. I thought that for being an Amnesia story, they did it very well. And going back,
it could have been a lot worse.
The way they did the flashbacks was perfect, because not only did it give us the flashbacks, it did it in a way that was important to the story.
Yeah, I felt
that
like
wasn't just flashbacks.
That's true, but I also felt like that sort of undermined the importance of them a little bit, because you had the other thing going on.
But see, it's like you've got the first flashback, but then that second flashback.
The reasons it's an issue is because the less, I don't want to say dumb, intuitive people won't pick up what we're supposed to pick up in those flashbacks, because you also have the other dude talking at the same time.
Well,
and that's where the problem comes in.
I think they were aiming having the other dude talk at the same time to really pinpoint what you needed to be paying attention to as a person.
Yeah.
Like, focus, get this.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like they're literally like holding a person's head saying, you need this info here.
I love how through the flashbacks they're looking at and through the actual flashbacks we see later, they go into depth into showing how much of Carol's memory the Kree have tampered with and messed up. That was really cool to watch.
Spoiler.
It's like, you think we can
hit
the spoiler ban?
Yeah,
we're real quick.
Okay.
Spoiler ban's still on.
I'm still kind of talking a bit.
Okay, go for it.
Sorry.
The acting was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Everyone did a great job. Every single actor had great chemistry with each other.
Yeah, they did.
Like,
they really
even
did.
like the one or two scenes that Brie Larson and Annette Bening had together, where she wasn't Supreme Intelligence, where she was, was so good and really sold me on their friendship. And Carol, Brie Larson, and whoever the actor it is that plays Maria,
oh my god,
their friendship was so well developed from just the one or two scenes that we were shown.
And I think that's so great, because like y'all were saying with the Amnesia thing, it's like, Brie has to play her character missing a lot of emotional attachment. Yeah. It's like she's very not attached to stuff, and she has to be, because that's her character right now.
Yeah.
And so the fact that there's kind of still those moments, like, I deep down in my subconscious, I know, and it kind of comes out a little bit, especially with her and Maria.
And especially going back to Maria as well, and talking about the lack of a love interest, I love that they didn't focus on giving her a love interest, but they focused more on Carol's friendships and her relationships with Nick and Maria and, Annette Bening's character. And through her friends and the relationship she has with them and their support, is she figures out who she is.
Yeah.
And that felt much more relatable and refreshing to me, because no one ever goes through any self-identity with a significant other. It's always with your friends.
Yeah.
So that felt like such a great change of pace to have our main character
have such a friendship bond.
Strong friendships, as opposed to one love interest that's supposed to support them and help them and give them a reason to fight. But like no, her reason to fight.
Marie gives in the end, like, you are.
Yeah, yeah. I love
that was part of my cry counter. Lori's cry counter was at 7. Thank you.
I love Nick Fury and Maria's little kind of friendship they develop. I love
Yeah.
how hyped they're getting when they're flying at the end, and
Yeah.
it's so great to me. I love seeing Nick
Even-
Fury so invested and so excited about
Even-
what's going on around him.
Even Nick Fury's interactions with the Skrulls were great.
Oh
It
yeah,
really was.
Like, it's like, you keep talking, I'm gonna put my foot where it shouldn't be. It's like, am I supposed to know where that's supposed to be? He's like, your ass.
I love when they're looking at the dead body and Nick
they just
checks
have to
see
take
if
the
it has a
peek.
dick.
That was how you do a tasteful dick joke.
I guess, yeah.
That was a good one.
Because that was just human nature. Like,
I
you
mean,
know?
yeah.
And it's even funnier when you look back and realize that Talos was having to play along and
Yeah,
look at his bro's dick.
His dead friend.
His dead friend's dick.
I shouldn't laugh
There's so
at
much
that.
disrespect, but it's
shouldn't
so
laugh
funny
at
because he
that.
has to do that to maintain face.
Okay.
Let me see if I have any little things in here that
can I
I
have a
wanted to
pen?
bring up. Oh, the cinematography. I love that it felt like a 90s film. Like the action scenes were shot, the way they were shot, it looks and feels very 90s action movie. And I really liked that.
I had people complain about the fight scene inside the bus because it was so, like, there were so many cuts they couldn't figure out what was going on.
I need another.
And I just want to be like, dude, you try to put a camera inside a bus, it ain't easy.
That's a good point. I love that the people on the bus were trying to hold Carol back.
Yeah.
But it's like the funniest thing to me is the old lady is pulling all of these super fight moves, but they go for Carol instead of the old lady. I love when she punches the old lady and the guy in the back goes, damn!
I love the scene where the scroll gets away and it's standing there.
Are we, okay,
And
we're just going to go into spoilers.
yeah,
From here
we're
on
just
out,
gonna go into spoilers.
Captain
Wait,
Marvel.
hold on.
Captain Marvel was a great movie.
Can I have another
Go
pen?
see it.
A what?
Can I have another pen?
Oh,
this
yeah.
one doesn't
Hold
write
on.
well. I guess I'll deal with blue if I have
We all
to.
highly enjoyed it. Don't believe any of the controversy. There's so many people
fight
hating on it because
scenes were
people have told
dope.
them to. Even rational people.
Look, if a person is commenting saying Captain Marvel's bad, go watch Alita. Don't trust their opinion.
Oh, here it is. Okay, so one other thing.
I mean, you can
loved-
still go watch Alita. I'm sure it's good. But
I
still.
loved the little human moments they sprinkled in, especially at
yeah.
the end after everything they've all gone through after the climax. They make a point of showing all of them having dinner together and celebrating their victory, and just it felt so human and relatable and down to earth, and made you feel even more happy for them that they could have this moment of togetherness after everything that happened, and everyone could just finally breathe a sigh of relief
I was thinking
after,
that too.
after all of this conflict. And I really and then Nick Fury singing and them doing the dishes.
God, that was cute.
It was just such a great moment in the movie, and it was one of those moments I wish we had more of, but they gave us just the right amount to where I was just like, this is just a great change of pace. It's so great to end the movie on something so human and relatable to really drive home that humanity, Carol's humanity specifically, is a big part of what makes her special.
Yeah. It's kind of funny too that you bring that up, because I was just earlier today there was a Tumblr post talking about how the Avengers has really kind of become a very brooding, I can never be happy.
Are you like intentionally making that as loud as you can?
No, that's not. I'm holding it away from the mic.
And then he's got to crinkle it extra loud. But it's like about how
I don't think you have to cover your mic while you chew Skittles. It's all right.
I don't want people to hear me eating candies.
But they were talking about how the Avengers have kind of become like, I can never be happy because of stuff's going on and everything like that. And it's a very broody thing. And they're like, in most fanfics and a lot of like fan-based material, it's just the Avengers hanging out and being human. And that's literally what we got at the end of Captain Marvel, was her just hanging out with everyone.
I know, it's
them just
unfortunate.
being human.
One of the only times we actually see the Avengers acting like normal people
is at the beginning of Age of Ultron.
The party.
Yeah.
The party. And I love that scene too. Like,
Even if it did have the whole Hulk.
oh
Scarlet
yeah, I
Witch thing
erased
in
that
it.
part from my memory.
Yeah.
We don't talk about this.
We don't talk about that scene. We
It's
just talk
funny
about
that
them
we-
sitting around the table
I
with the
think
hammer.
it's hilarious how you and me both hate that for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
But still.
And it's funny that y'all hate it for completely different reasons, and I hate it for both of your reasons combined. So I'm like the middle ground between the two of you.
It's like William's the child of our opinion.
Basically.
But, you know, and so it's really, I like seeing, like you said, I like seeing scenes where they're kind of humanized, where they do just normal people things, because you're not 24/7 a superhero. And yeah, I like that.
Especially Shazam. He's a kid the rest of the time.
What a child.
I can't go to school today. I've got to fight bad guys.
I'm excited to see that movie.
It's like Spider-Man, but not.
It's like Spider-Man,
except Spider-Man,
but like that blue Power Ranger from that one Power Rangers thing where it was a kid and every time he morphed, he became an adult. Do you not remember that?
What?
One of the Power Ranger things, the Blue Ranger, was a kid who was remarkably younger than all the other Rangers. And whenever they would morph, his stunt person was an actual full-grown adult like all the others, but the kid voice was still there.
Huh.
Never stop being you, Power Ranger.
Oh, Power Rangers.
Okay, what are we going to talk about next?
I think
we've lifted the spoiler button.
Actually,
Check off
actually,
the notes I've discussed.
what we're gonna do, make sure you've said everything you want to say in the non-spoiler one. I think I'm gonna go ahead and split it up into a 2-part thing, just for the sake of being organized. Well, I'll upload them both at the same time.
I don't know
part
why.
one,
I
part
thought
two.
you were gonna say origami. I don't know what I'm doing.
Origami. You know, Jacob's pretty good at origami.
Oh, wait. Few little things that aren't necessarily spoilers, but who cried during the Stanley tribute logo?
Oh, I was gonna say that. That's what I was gonna say earlier.
Oh, yeah?
I wanted to warn
I mean,
anyone.
does that kind of count like a spoiler, though?
I think we should
think so.
warn people because Alicia wasn't ready.
Okay, yeah,
My theater clapped.
Okay,
I
so
teared up.
I saw it come on, and it took me a brief second to click at what they were doing, and so then I started getting emotional.
Mhm.
But then it's like you heard like one clap start, and then the whole theater applauded,
Just
and I
got
started
there.
sobbing
Ours didn't do that.
because so
Yeah,
it's
my
like,
theater clapped.
oh my god. I cried. That was
also-
Lori
You
crying.
see a lot. You see a tribute to Stanley at the beginning. We won't ruin how, but you do, and just be ready. Just be
It's done
emotionally
really
ready.
well.
It's so
It's done
beautiful.
so
We
well.
have to talk about Goose real quick. Goose is the best.
Goose is great. We can't
can't
talk
say too
much
much.
about Goose.
I know, but we'll talk a little bit about Goose.
Reggie is his name in real life.
There were apparently
It was played by 4
3.
different cats.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
4
really?
different
'Cause
cats.
I only found it because I was trying to look it up, and I only found the info on
hold
one.
Oh my god!
It's
now
4
I gotta
different
try and
ones.
find. Okay, hold on, because
I'll take your word for it. I don't really care.
I loved Goose.
I want to give credit to all the cats. Thank you very much.
I loved when they were leaving the hangar and Goose was just trapped up against that.
Because of the G-force.
And he was just like,
You would. You
I mean, I love
psychopath.
cats, and I'm glad that my cats now have a strong feline character to look up to. And
That's got to be the best joke
Feline
Jacob has
character.
ever made.
I was gonna wait because I wanted to make that joke ever since the movie. I saw the movie about there being a strong female cat character for my cats to look up to, but I wanted to wait until the movie came out so I could take a picture of my cats watching Goose. But I was like, nah, I can't wait that long. I got to make this joke now. So,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Goose-
Jacob coming up with a strong feline character.
Goose
line
was played
great.
by-
The workshop. Yeah, I just want to say that Instagram post that there was complaints, and so we genuinely workshopped our Instagram post for a good 30 minutes until we finally okay, I think it's good now.
I napped during all this. I made the post, went home, took a nap, and when I woke up, y'all had worked around it.
Yeah.
And I was reading why in the Discord, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I
was like-
get it.
Yeah, it's like I completely got where it came from, and
It's
I'm like,
it's one of those things where because we know you and how you would say it, it's funny.
the tone plays out in our heads, and we get it.
Without the actual voice, I totally see
Yeah.
how it could be a problem.
So the cats' names were Reggie, Rizzo, Gonzo, and Archie. I love all
I'm
4
here
of
for
you.
Gonzo.
Did you see the Facebook live video where they were recording Goose, the cat that played Goose at the premiere? They did a Facebook live video of one of the cats that plays Goose at the premiere. They had made a little play area for him, and like halfway through, Sam Jackson showed up and started playing with him.
That is so important to me.
I loved Nick Fury doting over Goose the entire movie. That was my favorite thing. He's just like, oh, look at you, hey, kitty. And it's like, this is the super serious and stoic Nick Fury we know, right? Just losing his shit over a cat.
I love when he leaves, like, I'll be back.
I'm back. I'll be back. And then, I trust you. Okay, I'm done talking about things that are not spoilers, I believe.
Okay, so I think we're going to wrap up. We're already in almost an hour in.
Yay!
Oh my god.
So I'm going to wrap this up as part 1, general thoughts, non-spoilers.
For the most part.
For the
Part
most
2
part.
will be spoilers.
I can redact it. I can just
Redacted.
just beep over, or just have me going redacted. Over the
We should all
Redacted.
3 say it at the exact same time, and then you use that of all
that
3 of
sounds
us
like
saying
nightmare
it.
fuel.
Spoiler, Carol Danvers was Brie Larson the entire time.
What?
Oh! Spoiler, Brie Larson was a scroll the entire time.
Not a spoiler, but something I just thought of. I really noticed that, like, and really liked that she had messy hair throughout the entire movie.
God bless her and her messy hair.
I mean,
Her helmet kept going on and off.
exactly.
I mean,
she had helmet hair.
Yeah.
But I like that they made a point of
Not to
showing
be confused
that
with her actual helmet hair.
instead of her just having
I would like to
perfect
thank
hair.
God and
they
also
actually made a
Jesus for that
point of
helmet being
focusing
in the
on that
movie.
detail of her having messy hair because of her
Yeah.
helmet. So that was nice. That was nice.
I feel like Kree technology could have. Well, granted, again, I didn't see. Actually, we did see a Kree with hair. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Finally,
Yeah. And I don't think hers stood out from the helmet.
I don't have an issue with it.
I love her helmet so much.
I personally think it looks ridiculous, but what I personally think matters none at all. So
it looked cool.
I mean,
I like the mohawk.
I think mohawks look weird.
I found one of those helmets, and you can actually pull your hair through the helmet.
It just seems like it's just one of those things that that's not like a great design combat wise.
Well,
so
it's a reference.
I'm sure. Well, regardless, like if you're just looking at it from an outside point of view, there's no way that helmet was intended. Well, no way that a normal helmet would be intended to do that, which means she actively made a choice of getting a helmet that would do that. Because I'm sure a Kree normal helmet would just cover your head because Krees are boring a-holes.
Yeah.
Which means personality-wise it fits, that she intentionally tried to stand out like that because that's just what Captain Marvel does.
You think she did it the first time? They're like, "What is this?" And she just was like, "My hair," and just kept walking.
It's a human thing.
She wouldn't have known. Or
I don't know, man. It's all confusing. Anyways, okay, we'll wrap this up. We have to sign out. Do we have a pre-recorded sign out for Nerdly Kingdom?
think that we do.
No.
All right,
Well-
sign us out then, Lori.
All right. Well, if you have seen Captain Marvel, if you're planning to see Captain Marvel and you want to give us an opinion on that, you can always email us at nerdlykingdom@gmail.com. You can hit us up on our Twitter at @the_nerdum. Get us on Instagram at The Nerdly Kingdom, or on Facebook also at The Nerdly Kingdom. We'd really love to hear from you. And if you also have any suggestions for anything that we should talk about in the future, hit us up. Let us know. We would really love some ideas and suggestions from you guys.
You know what we should have?
Just hit us.
Just punch me right in the face.
To quote the movie, you want to fight? We should have posted something on our social medias like, hey, we're recording about Captain Marvel today. If you have any ideas,
Well,
we got to start doing that.
We really do.
Oh, well.
That would require us to actually plan out what our podcast is going to be
Yeah,
more
this is
than
kind
like
of an
2
emergency
days
podcast. I'm surprised,
in advance.
I'm surprised we all showed up, to be honest.
I'm off for the next 2 days, so I was
Shut
like,
up.
this was the only day this week I would have been able to do it.
That worked out. I'm going to be dead tomorrow.
This is my last day of my 4-day weekend. But that's okay. I got some stuff done, not as much as I'd like. I replaced almost all the blinds in my apartment because they were all crap. So that's fine.
I need to buy blinds.
Walmart has some really cheap ones I really like. They're not pull string kind. You just pull them down and they go up, and like it's really nice.
My apartment provides our blinds for us.
Ours don't. Actually, he did. He supplied me with like half the worth of blinds. The blinds that were broken, he gave me those.
I'm gonna go
but the rest I had to
get
buy
some of
myself.
those.
Okay. All right, so
All right, yeah,
was fun.
that was
I got
fun. Here we go.
Can I have another pin, please?
oh yeah,
If-
I'm sorry.
If you want us to talk about something specific in our spoiler version, that's too bad because we're literally recording it right after we record this one. So,
Okay, yeah.
bye.